Welcome to Schoodic Arts for All's How I Work series. We thought it would be interesting to have conversations with various artists and creatives about how they work. Today we're here at US Bells, a bronze foundry, which is part of a creative center called Watering Cove Studios in Prospect Harbor, Maine. We're here to talk with bell maker Dick Fisher. Dick, thanks for spending time with us today. Can you tell us a bit about how you got started in the work that you do?
Well, thank you for having me. And I'm going to show you a little bit about the bells and how I started making them. I think I'll start right off with a picture, a real one. This is a current bell I'm working on, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more in a while about how I developed this design, how I made all these parts, and the actual bell pattern itself. So how do we start? Well, back in 1970, I had a welding torch and I was done with college. I didn't study anything that had anything to do with bell making or foundry work, but I just wanted something to do, and I liked puttering in the garage with those tools. And so I started welding together out of steel funky old bells that sound like cowbells. Doesn't sound too good, but on Saturdays, I made this push cart and got myself a peddler's license in Boston. I took them into Copley Square. I lived near Boston back then. And I set those bells on this funky old push cart, and in the course of the day, often sell most of them. I don't understand to this day why so many people bought them, but they did, and that kept me going.
That's a great story, Dick.
So we kept working on our bells. In the 80s, we started doing casting. I got sick of the cowbell sound, and I wanted to have more variety of forms and shapes, and most importantly, the quality of the tone of the sound. And so we started just with different designs that would be easy to cast. And they kind of led to the one I showed you earlier, which is a new design I'm working on now. And so I'm going to show you a little bit of how I come up with a design and how I make the parts. It all starts with a lot of doodling on a little pad of paper. I don't know if you can see that very well,
yeah.
but I come up with little sketches, and then I go to a big drawing board when I have an idea in mind. And I try to draw my ideas a little bit more carefully and work down till a full-size drawing of the whole bell with the parts that hold it together. And stay on that for a minute, Tim. The first thing I do, let me show you this. The first thing I do is I make a pattern on a lathe of a wooden, just like turning a bowl, of the bell I want to cast. And it's hollow on the inside. And I take that, if I like it, we can actually make a casting of this just from the rough pattern, from this wooden pattern. But if we like the casting and we're going to keep doing it, I set this up on this sketch, life size. I draw it. It's the exact diameter of the bell and the exact height. And then I can copy out of wood the pieces, the exact size and shape from the pattern that I've drawn on the sketch pad. And at that point, we can make castings of that rough pattern. If we like the way it works, I go to the next stage of making production patterns. The way that works, I'll take this carved piece. This is another piece that goes up here, the hanger on that drawing. And I'll take this piece and carve it as carefully as I can out of wood. And then I make, using some rubber, liquid rubber compound, I make a mold of this wooden piece. And then from this rubber mold, I can make plastic, pour this plastic stuff into the rubber mold and make copies, as many as I want. Takes half a day for the plastic to set up, but you do it while you're doing other work and you eventually get everything you need. Do that with every piece that you're gonna make. So when you're done, you mount those pieces on a board like this. And you notice it splits, so there's half on each side of the board. Now, I can't show you on this Zoom how we actually do the molding, but it is shown on our website. And if you go to explore that, there's a whole section on videos of molding and doing our boundary pouring and even the finish work. And as well, there's videos of all our bells so you can listen to them. So I make these patterns. From the pattern, we get all our parts. And you see, this is that part that's on that pattern. This is that one that I showed you the rubber mold of. And this is the other piece that holds the clapper. And they're all the same size as what was on my drawing. And so what I didn't tell you is that, as you can see, that takes a lot of time to go through all that process and go from a sketch to an actual usable production pattern. And so often, if you just do that cold without some way of testing your idea out, you'll spend all that time and find out that the bell doesn't balance right, or the clapper doesn't connect right with it. And so you make mock-ups, real cheesy, quick and dirty plywood mock-ups of the parts. And these are some that didn't quite fly, they didn't quite work. And I drill holes in them and I hang my original casting of the first casting of the bell. In fact, it's right over here. This is the one we made from that wooden pattern. And so it weighs the right amount, and it's the full size. And so when I hang that on this piece and hang the clapper on the big clapper that's down there, which I don't have handy to show you, it all does balance. Well, if it doesn't balance right, I know it's because these holes aren't in the right place, or this arm is a little too short or too long, or this top piece isn't quite where it needs to be. There's this kind of a center of gravity issue that you need to consider. So you have to get all those things right. Well, I call this adjustable. That finished pattern is not adjustable. You're stuck with it. So you want to have all those details as close to perfect as you can before you go to this finished piece. And just to remind you again, it's all done. You get it right, you get a piece that works, and all these parts come together. This is that clapper that has to be right. And there's a fin on the bottom that catches the wind and makes it all ring. So you just hang this outside on the tree or on your porch, and it rings whether kind of as a reflection of what the weather's doing. And it's made out of bronze, so it lasts pretty much forever. That's pretty much how we make these bells.
So Dick, how is the current situation with the coronavirus? Does it have any effect on your work and your business? How are you responding to that?
Well, so far, we've been pretty fortunate through all this. When it first came up in the spring, we did close down, and we had our 2 employees take a couple months off, and we were able to get help for them. The PPP loan business helped. Come June, we decided to call people back, and so we were able to work. I think we might have worked part-time with them for a while through the first half of the summer, and then we went up to full-time.
Well, that was a fantastic summary of the creative process right there. So, Dick, I want to thank you very much for joining us today. And people that are watching this video can check out your website, US Bells. Check out Watering Cove Studios if you're ever up here on the coast of Maine and down East Maine and Prospect Harbor. And thank you all for listening.